All right, we're going to start with Tim Priester. Go ahead, Tim.
Paul, I think we were kind of surprised to hear Coach Kelly say that you may be able to help in this spring in 7-on-7 from your recovery from an injury. Can you just give us a quick synopsis of the injury, how it occurred, and how the rehab has gone?
Yeah, so in the FSU game, I ended up tearing my Achilles on a certain play where I planted my foot wrong. And 2 days later, I got surgery, recovered quickly after that surgery. And I've just been going to rehab every day before practice, before workouts, trying to get that extra work in to recover as quickly as possible so I could return and help the team out in any way possible. As of right now, I'm still limited, but I'm looking forward to helping the Rover group and the linebacker group in any way that I can. So, yeah.
Great. We'll go to Tyler James next from the South Bend Tribune.
Hey, Paul, what have you guys been able to learn about Coach Freeman's defense here through the winter, and what are you most excited about kind of seeing how it plays out this spring?
We learned a lot from Coach Freeman. He's definitely a player coach, so that's always a good thing to have on the team to build a relationship outside of football. So the connection is definitely there. Scheme-wise, we're really excited about playing a defense that's less about scheming and more about playing football. And Coach Freeman makes sure that he emphasizes that point to our team, that he wants us to play football, play free, fast, and physical. And I think the players are behind that, and they're really excited about playing that and showcasing that on Saturday. So.
And next we'll go to Lou Samoji from Blue and Gold.
Paul, you mentioned you're going to be at the Rover position. Has there been any discussion at any other position like cross training? And Coach Kelly mentioned that you'd like to get a bunch of linebackers on at the same time or anything. Are you working specifically at the Rover with Isaiah and Jack, or is there some cross training also going on?
Yeah, I'm definitely more geared towards working in the Rover position. There's a lot of other guys on the defense that are playing Rover and a little bit of Will. Some playing Mike and a little bit of Will. So, yeah, we're very versatile in the linebacker group. And, I mean, defensive-wise, it's not too hard to get down. Like I said earlier, Freeman really emphasized that he doesn't want us thinking out on the field. He just wants us playing, but playing smart. So, yeah, we're really excited about those guys that have an opportunity not only at one position but at two positions, and see how they could best fit with our defense. So.
And it looks like we have one more question from Pete Sampson.
Paul, I was wondering if you just sort of compare and contrast between Coach Lee and Coach Freeman, just in terms of, personality, communication styles. Is it totally different, or do you see some similarities between the two?
There's definitely similarities between the two. The level of football that they want us to play at are definitely the same. They definitely emphasize that the totem pole is horizontal, and there's really no hierarchy among the coaches and the players. They really want the players and the coaches to be at the same level and communicating like so. The only difference between that I see between Freeman and Lee is just scheme. Like I mentioned earlier, it's less scheme with Coach Freeman and more playing football. So.
Great. We're going to wrap it up with Tyler James here. Go ahead, Tyler.
Paul, I was curious, what did you take from watching Jeremiah's career play out at the Rover position, and maybe what the possibilities that position could be, and then what that could be for you as well?
It was truly inspiring to see Jeremiah Owusu do so well. But, I mean, he was also my roommate, so the connection was outside of football was definitely a lot stronger. So to be able to see him ball out like he did last season was truly inspiring, and took a lot of note of how he played, the way he played and the way he acted, not only on the field but outside of the field. So yeah, he's definitely a role model when we talk about football out here. So
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Paul. I believe that's all the questions. Thanks for your time. All right, we'll have Chris Tyree join us next. So once again, raise the hand for Chris. Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, Chris, we've heard reports that you've really worked very hard to excuse me, got a frog in my throat. Work, one second. Okay, work very hard to change your body, get yourself stronger, prepare yourself better. What have you done with regard to that? And how do you see your role within the offense expanding? What has Coach Reese said to you?
Yeah, well, first off, just this off season, I've took a lot of time to just get bigger, stronger, faster. I've gained a little bit of weight, so I'm really confident in just being a complete back and, you know, expanding my, I guess, role on the team. And Coach Reese is just basically, he wants me to build on what I did last year. I think we all understand that good things happen when the ball is in my hands. So just being able to expand that and then just getting more opportunities to give me the ball is the goal for right now.
All right, we'll go to Patrick Engel next. Go ahead.
Chris, what do you feel like you and Kyron do well that kind of complements each other and made you the effective pair that you were last year, and what you can kind of build off of that?
I think it's simple. We both make plays. I think that it's really important that we build off of each other. I think we're both really versatile when it comes to playing in the backfield and playing at receiver also. We both in high school played receiver, so it makes a lot of sense for us to be very versatile. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's just we both make plays, and that's how we can build off of each other.
We're going to go to Josh Vowles next with his question.
Yeah, Chris, with you still being in your freshman year, how are you adapting your body wise with your role? You know, being able to adapt to go through a full season like you did, and now into spring ball. Are you feeling good? Or are there some things that you need to work on physically? And you also mentioned, you know, about a goal. Do you have any set goals in mind for yourself moving through spring and as you get into the summer?
Yeah, one for me is just to expand my role. I think I'm really confident in what I can do on the field, and it's just up to me to be able to show that to more people. So just being more confident in my role and making sure that I show the playmaking ability that I'm capable of.
All right, we're going to go to Tyler James next from South Bend Tribune.
Chris, what were the biggest lessons that you learned as a freshman last season? And was there a moment that maybe raised your confidence in your ability to make an impact as a freshman?
Yeah, I mean, you hit it right on the nail. The biggest lesson I got from this past season was just being confident in myself. I feel like as you watch the film throughout the season, I think you can tell that the more games that I played, the more snaps that I played, the more confident I was. And yeah, I would say that's also what I built throughout the season, just my confidence and being comfortable out there.
I'm going to go to Pete Sampson next. Go ahead, Pete.
Chris, I was interested, like, did your freshman season sort of go the way you expected it to go in terms of how you're utilized and how much? And then the second question is, you sort of see a future where you and Kyron can play together? Even if you're similar backs, if there's a way for you both to be on the field at the same time.
Yeah, I think there is a way, just being that we're, like I said before, we're really versatile. We can both play in the slot and in the backfield. So I think there's a lot of opportunities there for us to be on the field at the same time. And can you repeat your first question again?
Yeah, just your freshman season, if it sort of met the expectations you had when it started, both in terms of your role, how much you played, and just sort of like how easy or difficult it was.
Yeah, coming into the season, I really had no idea what to expect. I knew that whatever my role was, I was going to play that and do it to the best of my ability. So when it comes to my expectations, I'm pretty happy with what I did. Just being that I really had no idea what I was going to be doing or what my expectations were. So I'm happy with what I did.
I'm going to go to Loose Emoji next from Blue and Gold.
Chris, whenever your name is brought up, the immediate association people bring with it is the game-breaking speed factor. But Coach Kelly mentioned even last August how your toughness inside what was quite a surprise. And you said you put on some extra weight. Is that an aspect of the game that you wanted to develop more and not be known just necessarily as a speed guy to the outside?
Yeah, I feel like just even growing up back at home, I really made an emphasis to make sure that I wasn't just some fast guy carrying the ball. I wanted to make sure that people knew that I could run in between the tackles. Also, in addition to the tosses and screens and swings and stuff like that. So I know how to use my speed to my advantage. I feel like I've shown that I have pretty good vision. I'm building on becoming a complete back. So that's how I feel about that. And yeah.
All right, we will go to Bryan Driskell next with his question.
Hey, Chris, you mentioned, last year going into fall camp, you weren't really sure what was going on. How does your work change as far as going through practice, kind of feeling like you're building now that you kind of have that year under your belt, now that you have that experience? Does it allow you to work differently? Does it help you differently? Like how is it different now that you do have that experience going into it to the spring?
Yeah, I think so. I feel like coming into the spring so far, I've really focused on eye discipline and consistency. Me and Coach Taylor have really talked about just creating good habits, especially the ones that I've had and built up from the past season. Just building on that and creating better habits, more good habits, and just being more consistent and having better eye discipline.
And then we're going to go to Tim Priester next. Go ahead, Tim.
Chris, is the plan for you to continue to return kicks or punt returns in your future at all?
Yes, sir. That's still in the plan.
I'm sorry?
Yes, sir. That's still in the plan.
Kick returns are punt returns a consideration?
We've been working on it, yes.
Okay. Thank you.
And then now we have a question from George Bashura. Go ahead, George.
Hey, Chris. What is your expectation for you and the running back core this spring leading into the fall season?
I would say the biggest thing for us is building on what we did last year. I feel like we showed that we were really competitive and we all have the ability to make plays. So just building on that and being more consistent in that playmaking ability is what we're gonna be working on this spring.
And then we have one of the questions submitted in was to you, just what makes Kyron such a special player?
I would think just from knowing him for about a year now, he's really competitive. He brings that spirit that most offenses really look for. And here, as you can see, we don't really have to because Kyron has all of it. He has all of the energy. And when it comes to just being in the competitive periods and playing in games, he's going to bring that edge. So I feel like that's what he brings to our team.
And then we have one last question for you from Driskell. Go ahead.
Hey, Chris, following up on the question before, so it sounds like you're saying like last year was kind of learning big picture. You had to learn the offense. Now you're focusing more on the finer points. What do you think that's going to do for your game now that you're able to really hone in on specific, more detailed aspects of playing running back at the collegiate level?
Yeah, like I said before, I think it's just going to bring more consistency and more opportunities to play. I feel like just being really young and just not really knowing my role and just being out there playing, taking advantage of opportunities. I feel like I have a better opportunity now to be more consistent and be a complete back.
Thanks, Chris.
Perfect. Thanks, Chris. That's all we have for you.
Thank you.
I believe Bo Bauer will be the next one up. All right, Bo is on his way, so just go ahead and raise your hand for questions for Bo.
Hello.
All right, good afternoon, Bo. We're going to start off with Josh Vowles. Go ahead, Josh. We'll get this thing rolling.
Yeah, Bo, good afternoon. Are there any plans for you to do some cross training this spring, inside out or anything like that with new defense coordinator Marcus Freeman?
Yeah, so I'm starting at Mike, but he says that he wants everybody to learn different positions. So hopefully I'll be learning Will very soon. So I have that diversity of two positions.
And is that something that, I mean, obviously you want to be on the field and you want to play as much as you can. Was that something that you're really excited about doing, going here into your senior year, or do you have one position that do you want to be the Mike?
No, I want to do what's best for the team. I'm super excited to contribute to my team on the field in any way. So if my coaches think it's best for me to play Will or Mike, I trust in their judgment. I'm just excited to be a participant and play this year. So.
Thank you.
All right, we will go to Patrick Engel next.
Well, and spending a couple months now around Coach Freeman and now getting to practice with him today, what have you learned about what he kind of wants and demands from his linebackers, being a former linebacker himself?
Coach Free, he's a great coach. I really love that he's been part of our unit. He's very effort-oriented guy. That's one of the first things we have to talk about. He always wants high effort from us, but we just started focusing on really like football-specific ways such as the difference, our block destruction, and just getting our job done. But at the end of the day, he just wants us to play football and be free. So it's just kind of nice to be able to play free and know that even if things don't go exactly planned, that effort and our attitude will take over.
Great. We're going to go to Bryan Driskell next. Go ahead.
Bo, I have a two-part question kind of following up on what you just said. Number one, do you feel like, not that the last didn't, I'm speaking specifically to this, but do you feel like that kind of play looser, play free, go make plays mentality fits your skill set better? And then the second part of that is, do you feel like in this defense, it'll be easier to maybe cross-train so that you can have some of that versatility?
For the first question, Coach Lee is a great coach, and he asked of us to know a lot of different rules and be very detailed oriented, which is really important to our process. But sometimes it was difficult to play with your natural instincts. But it was a really good time for me to be able to learn how to be a part of a unit and do one job. So that was very important in my growth. But, I do think it might be easier this year to learn both positions, since Coach Free kind of has already been teaching people all the positions, because they're all interconnected, and it's important to know what the other people are doing for your own position. So just based off that, I think it's already a bit easier because he's been teaching it already. And there's less complexity maybe in making calls and changing things right before the snap, and more just knowing rules and knowing how to execute at the end of the day.
All right, we're going to go to Pete Sampson next. Go ahead, Pete.
Oh, I was interested about Coach Freeman and sort of how he's gone about building relationships with you guys. Obviously, we're kind of living in a weird time here, but like, what's some of the efforts that you've seen him put in with you to sort of get to know you, to get to know how to coach you, what buttons to push? That the relationship part of it. How's he done that?
No, I think it was a great way how he just introduced himself to us. He's kind of like more of a loose, free guy who just really wanted to have fun. It didn't seem like such a tense atmosphere. He just tries to have more of just like this fun way of going about it. We're still working, and it's still we're challenging ourselves. But he looks at the person. He tries to have meaningful conversations, and he reaches out, and he's asked me about my undergrad degree, and he's asked me about my grad school ambitions. And so he's been able to reach out and talk to me more about things that weren't football, and ask about my family. So he's done a good job of being interested in all parts of our lives. And for me, he's just been able to reach out and really just show interest in myself. And he just brings this spirited attitude every day to practice in our meetings. It just kind of gets everybody in the linebacker room going.
And now we're going to go to Tim Priester.
Yeah, Bo, in accordance with some of the things you're saying here, it sounded like in the past that the idea of playing you and Drew White at the same time was not a possibility. So in Coach Freeman's defense and learning different positions, do you see you two being able to pair up on the field at the same time?
I can't speak to Coach Freeze, what he's thinking, or Coach Kelly or anybody else. I have a lot of great linebackers surrounding me who are great people and great players. So in any way, it'll be challenging. At the end of the day, I'm just going to try my best, my personal best, and know that I won't have any regrets, and leave it all on the field and let Coach Free and Coach Kelly make that decision and see what's the best for the team. Because at the end of the day, I'm here to serve those on my team so that we do the best this season. And I would not want any selfishness to take it away from the team.
Great, Bo. I think that's all the questions. So thanks for joining us today.
All right, thank you.
And last up, we should have Avery Davis. All right, thanks for joining us. We are going to get started with Patrick Engel and his question first. Go ahead, Patrick.
Avery, in throwing with Drew Pine this offseason or getting to work with him in winter workouts, what have you noticed about his mindset as far as how he's attacking the quarterback competition and how he carries himself?
Drew's the ultimate competitor. Like he takes on any challenge, and he's really gonna step up to the plate whenever his name's called. And I think it was really fun working with him this offseason. I'm excited to keep working with him going forward.
Thanks, Patrick. We will go to Josh Vowles next. Go ahead, Josh, when you can.
Yeah, good afternoon, Avery. How much of a relationship were you able to develop with Jack Cohn before today? And is there anything, how tricky is that with a transfer quarterback coming in, expected to get some reps?
Yeah. So initially, I was like, I wouldn't say skeptical. I was like uneasy about it because we haven't usually the guys they recruit them and we go through like the process together through the years together. But for Jack coming in, I've spoken to him a lot. Like every day I'm talking to him, and where we're throwing, he's also throwing with us all the time too. So like I feel like Jack's a really good guy. Just like Drew's a very good competitor. He's a lot more straightforward and to the business. But yeah, I'm really excited to work with Jack as well. So I think that our relationship is growing. It's going to continue to grow. But prior to spring, we've built a small relationship. I'm looking forward to growing it.
Thanks, Josh. We will go to Tyler James next. Go ahead.
Avery, does having played quarterback before make it easier for you to sort of relate to new quarterbacks and get on the same page with them?
Yeah, absolutely. Like most of the time, I feel like I know what they're looking for in a specific route, and especially like the timing aspect and like where I need to be, and we can kind of like go deeper into it. So we can talk coverages and we can talk looks, just because like I know what it looks like from their perspective, and I also know what it looks like from the receiver's perspective. So it's kind of like a more clear conversation going on when I talk to the quarterbacks.
All right, next question is going to be from Tim Priester.
Yeah, Avery, 2 questions, please. I thought there was a point, and it was before the Clemson game when you had the big play at the end of the game at home in double overtime, where you started to play, or you seemed to be a little bit more free and easy. When the ball got in your hands, you were a lot more explosive. I was wondering if there was a point where you felt like you settled in to the position, number one, last year. And secondly, I wouldn't imagine that a couple of years ago you would have thought that you'd be the elder statesman and the leader of the wide receiver corps.
Yeah, no, I never would have predicted that, especially coming in 2017. Someone would have told me that, I'd have told them they're foolish. But going to your first question, yeah, I definitely developed a sense of comfort in the position. Coming out of fall camp, I was still a little bit uneasy. But then after the Duke game and just feeling like seeing that I can have success against someone that's other than my team, because like prior I've had success in practice, but like that's not where it counts the most. It's really in the game. So like when I started playing and when I found success there, just like you said, I got a lot more and more comfortable, and that allowed me to excel at the position. So I'm looking forward to continue to grow.
Great. We're going to go to George Bashura next. Go ahead, George.
Hey, Avery, good to talk to you. Quick question concerning your utilitarian role. You've done that throughout your career at the University of Notre Dame. What do you think the 2021 looks like for you?
I think it's a little bit early to say that right now, but I think that I'm going to play a significant role in this offense. I think that my role will expand, and it still could possibly be the utilitarian version, but I feel like there's a lot more plays for me to be made. And like I've been saying, I'm really looking forward to it. But I think I will have a big impact on this offense this season.
I'm going to go to Tyler James from the South Bend Tribune.
Avery, what areas do you feel like you need to improve to maybe have a different kind of role or expand your usage in the offense?
I think everywhere, just overall knowledge of the position. Like it's really my second year, a year and a half going into playing the position. So I think the biggest thing for me is understanding how to read defenses like mid play, not pre-snap, because pre-snap I can kind of identify coverages. But like when the ball snapped, it's harder for me to like realize what I'm doing mid route, and so that's something I want to improve on moving forward, and as well as like top of the route details and like being able to get in and out of my breaks and cuts.
Great. Next question is going to come from Pete Sampson.
Avery, I was curious a little bit more about Jack Kona's from a leadership capacity, like how you've seen him try to fit in, but also try to lead. Like it can be a little tricky to do both at the same time. How has that gone over the last 3 months?
Yeah, I can only imagine how like awkward that situation must be because you're playing the quarterback, which is like, like the epicenter of the football team. So that's definitely pressure and something he had to work on coming into it. But I think he's done a really good job. He's more of a soft-spoken guy, but like he leads with his work, he leads with his effort, and when he needs to say something, he's not hesitant to speak up. And his knowledge of the game is really well. So that's another thing that helps him lead. So he knows what he's talking about, and guys can really rally around that.
Thanks, Pete. Next, we're going to go to Lou Samoji from Blue and Gold. Lou, go ahead.
Hey, Avery, can you kind of take us through your journey here as far as you've played quarterback, you've played cornerback, you've played running back, then you moved to slot. Was there ever a frustration that set in at some point of maybe I just can't find myself, or what's the best position for me? And did having that full year at slot really enable you to develop the way you did last year?
Yeah, absolutely. I would be lying if I sit here and said it was just sunshines and rainbows the whole time, So like, I definitely went through dog days, went through days where it was just complete confusion. It's like you're saying, like what's going on? Like, where am I going to be? I don't know. Like, it was a point where I'm playing this position in the fall and the spring. I'm playing a completely different position. So like, from a comfort aspect, you're not really able to set your mind on a specific task and grow at it because it's such uneasiness. It's so much uncertainty. But like, I feel like being able to know that I'm in the slot and know that, last year, know that I'm just going to be playing in the slot. This is what I need to focus on. I was able to put a lot of energy into it and a lot of like work ethic and a lot of film study and stuff like that. So it allowed me to excel at the position. And I'm looking forward to growing that, just building off of that and expanding it. But from a comfort aspect or going back from a frustration aspect, yes, every day was a battle for about my first 2-3 years. Like every day was like a constant, like, having to reset my mind. It wasn't just like a get up and go to work. I had something I had to think about, and I had like this is gonna be probably a tough day, especially when I was playing defense. It's like this is gonna be a tough day, like because I'm so far behind the threshold of everybody else. Because everybody else is recruited and they're here to play the position that they chose to play. So like that was really tough for me, but I'm excited to where I'm at now. I'm excited for the future.
All right, next we're going to go to Patrick Engel. Patrick, do you have one more question, I believe?
Hey, Avery, and kind of looking at what you did last year, it seemed like as a yards after catch threat, you were able to be pretty consistent there. How much of an emphasis was becoming that once you kind of figured out that slot role was going to be where you were spending most of your time?
Can you repeat the question about yards after catch?
Yeah, how much of an emphasis was making an impact in yards after catch once you figured out that slot role was where you were going to spend a lot of time?
Oh, big, because especially in the slot, a lot of your routes sometimes aren't too deep, but kind of like 5-yard routes, quick hitters, quick angle throws. So like if you can get the ball and get as many yards as possible, you're increasing your role and you're increasing your usage. So that was my mindset, but that's something I really want to improve in going forward too. Is my yards at the catch, making the first guy miss and getting what I can get. So yeah.
Great. And now the very last question of the day is going to come from Tim Priester. Go ahead, Tim.
I didn't mean to raise my hand, actually. So you
Well, if that's the case, Avery, you are all done for the day.
Yeah,
Thanks
Avery.
for joining us.
That's it for us today. Thanks, everyone.